Well, let's get back to 46. Okay, the lady in the hospital. Was she in the hospital? You were diabetic. You said she was.
Yeah.
You probably visit her in her home.
Visit her in her home first, okay, and I'd read different psalms, okay. It wasn't always the same one, but Psalm 46 was a powerful one. Ultimately, she passed away, and of course, and I gave the funeral message, and it was based on actually Psalm 113. Okay, that was my theme for for that psalm, for that funeral message. Yeah. Then, and she was, I think, in her early 60s, and her husband, I then did a little bit of visitation after. And he, who seemed to be in good health, sort of my second visit after, in a month or two to go see him, he was complaining about a backache, and as it turned out, I got, and I said to him at the time, after, reading a psalm and so on, and spending a little time of comfort now, because he's, of course, grieving as a widower, and suggested, he should get it checked out at the doctor. And the next thing I know, I get a call from his daughter saying, he's in the hospital, has about a month to live, because he had a cancer on his spine. And then going to minister to him and reading Psalm 46 to him. And in all that pain, the haze of pain that you can often see on their faces, and you can imagine if it's the back and the spine, incredible pain. And just seeing, as you're reading that psalm to him, God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth give way and the mountains fall into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, and the mountains quake with their surging. And then the next line is really important. Okay. There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy place where the Most High dwells. God is within her. She will not fall. God will help her at break of day. This whole idea that God is with you, even when the mountains are falling down around you, when the tidal wave hits, when the great tragedy strikes, when you are losing everything, God is with you, and there is a river. And we can connect into that river, the river of God that's flowing through your life. If we're connected with God, that river of God is still flowing through. Yeah. And that river of God will carry you right to the throne of grace. That will carry you through that pain, through that agony, and take you right there. And you could just see this written on his face, as those words were read. And so I really, in ministering the Psalms, saw in that just the power of them. So with that the Tremblays, it was
wow.
a really precious thing. And within 6 months, they both passed away. But in their passing, they left a tremendous mark on my life, and just sort of the understanding that I began to grasp the power in the Psalms, mm-hmm. and seeing how that transformed and lit the way, you might say. It was the light at the end of the tunnel, when they were in their darkest moments. Sure. So I find that very, very meaningful. And so I know that when that psalm in particular, because the way it starts, it's interesting because you have, when I think about the God is our refuge and strength and ever-present help in trouble, and you look at the various troubles in the world, the tragedy in Haiti, the earthquake striking, and the tsunami in Indonesia and so on. Yes. And all those things. Those are all pictured there, really, within the context of that psalm. And you're going, wow, whatever hits my life, whatever tragedy might befall me, and it may not be a tsunami, but there is, however trouble hits us, however disease hits us, however, you know, heartaches come our way. They are going to come, you know, and I don't say that as a... You know,
it's not speaking doom and gloom.
No.
This is life.
Yeah, this is just the reality of life. You know, we're passed through this way, and it's going to come to an end at some point, and there's going to be, hopefully, we've grabbed a hold of the Lord God Almighty, and we can see Him carrying us through, and that's what the Psalms can do for us. They just really carry us through. So that acted as a springboard. Later,
interesting. No, go ahead. No, that's fascinating to me.
Later, I watched a fellow named Bruce Kuhn, who I mentioned sort of in the credits. That's not the right word. Acknowledgements, yes, at the beginning of the book. But Bruce Kuhn is a dramatist, and he came to Ottawa and presented all of the book of Luke, and I watched him do this, and was really fascinated by, well, it was one of those God moments when you know He's kind of giving you this little nudge, okay? And it happened to be, it was, I felt set up.
Isn't that's a correct, when God sets you up, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
He set me up for this occasion, shall we say.
I love it.
You know, I'd heard about this presentation happening, and I said, yeah, I want to go. And I said to my family, you know, I really want to go to this on a Friday night or whatever it was. And yeah, it was a Friday night. And throughout the week, I was looking forward to this, but I got sort of no response, you know, whether from my sons or my wife.
No encouragement at all.
No encouragement at all. And then Friday comes, and I still feel this. I really should go because already I was doing some of the drama with the Centurion's Report. I thought, you know, I should check this out. You know, I'd like to see what this is all about. Anyway, in a cold, miserable evening, you know, I went out by myself.
Yeah,
and there
no encouragement you know, from the dear wife and wonderful boys.
Yes. And there I'm sitting, and it was, I'm sure it was because God wanted to get me alone, you know, to hear what He would say. And basically what He said, I want you to be doing this, you know. And I thought, you want me to be doing this, the dramatization of, well, and I thought, well, I can't do Luke, you know, for example. The whole of the book of Luke, you know, the thought of just tackling something like that, just, I can't do that. It was sort of like, well, I didn't ask you to do that.
Interesting.
It was, well, what would you do? You know, it was sort of the response back.
Yeah.
Well, I'd do the Psalms, you know, was sort of the natural.
Wow.
And this was just shortly, you know, within a year or so of this experience with this couple. So that's how I began. I thought, well, there's nice bite-sized chunks there too. So I memorized Psalm 113. I memorized a number of other psalms, and put together what really is my Psalms Alive presentation. So, which is 14 psalms in total, and the book actually covers 13. But it's typically if I do the whole show,
now,
shall we say.
How long would it take to do 14 psalms?
Roughly about a half an hour. So it's not, and that's if I do them without any comment, okay? And originally I would always do them without comment, but recently I've been adding just put a little frame around it, or frame of reference. So often I've been adding just a little comment in front of the psalm. To get people thinking, you know, where are we going with this, and how would this relate? But it's very brief because I think the Psalms speak for themselves. We don't need to do a lot of.
When you start talking, but I mean, one of the things that I'm becoming, you know, gosh, why do you have to get so old before you become a little more insightful, a little bit more? I feel I'm just beginning, but I realize how much I've not been in touch with some of my emotions and some of my passions and some of my challenges. I think that sometimes we live in a culture, and sometimes our Christian culture I live in, or the one that you live in, like we live in our own cultures.
Yes.
And they're pretty defined.
Yes.
We don't think that. We think we're the broadest, biggest,
Yeah.
we're the most open people in the world. And all of
Yeah.
a sudden I discover
Yeah.
that it tends to break down some of the wall I've put up and push me beyond that.
Right.
But it's, along the way, I'm discovering that I think because of my cultural perspective, I want things to go wonderful for people. If I'm a Christian, things are wonderful.
Yeah.
If I'm a Christian, everything is going good, okay?
Right.
Because people who believe, if you've got faith, things go great.
Right. Yeah, we would like to think that.
Well, but if I believe that enough, I will refuse to acknowledge that sometimes things are going really bad.
That's right, yeah.
I won't. So I actually put a wall up and don't let God come into that part of my world and pretend it's not there.
Right.
And maybe it'll go away.
Right. Right.
And then a disaster. Then the mountains come down. I mean, when the mountain falls on that package.
Yes. Yes.
What do I do then? And what if the people in my surrounding don't understand it because, of course, it's a perfect world.
Right, right, right.
And that's a challenge. I mean, we'll come back because David's facing that a few times.
Oh, yes, he is. Yes, he is.
And I face it.
Yes.
And you face it.
That's right.
And you face it. We face these things. And sometimes when the world starts collapsing around us, but it's not the world that we were taught or believed or somehow construed to be the world, what do we do then? That's the challenge.
That's right.
And that's why you're doing Psalms Alive.
That's right.